All right, guys. Hey again. Today we're going to talk about nutrition for our Reading Lesson Wednesday. So let me go ahead and first share with you what our reading lesson, kind of walkthrough looks like. All right, so we're going to talk all about nutrition today. Back in my day, we had what was called the food pyramid. Well, just like with math or, other things in the world, scientists and educators realized maybe the food pyramid isn't the best way to be healthy, the most nutritious plan. So this actually was done by a study from Harvard nutritionists, and this is kind of the more accepted way of looking at healthy portions and how many of each food group you should eat daily. So if you notice, this is called MyPlate. The largest portion of the plate, so in maybe a meal or a day's worth, would be vegetables. So vegetables has tons of nutrients, antioxidants, minerals that your body needs. So they recommend that vegetables be your largest portion. More variety, the better. So for example, what I always follow is the more colorful your plate looks, the more nutrients and vitamins and minerals you're going to be getting in your body. So for example, when I was a kid, we would have these things that we called yellow meals, where it'd be like fish sticks, corn, and french fries. So everything on the plate was yellow. You're not going to get a ton of variety of nutrients from a plate that is all one color. So if you have things like spinach, carrots, radishes, those are bright colors that vary in vibrancy. So those would be a better way of getting your nutrients. That's not to say that like sweet potato fries or a baked potato now and then are bad for you, but just generally it's better to have a more colorful plate. That's what they recommend for a healthy diet. The next largest portion you would see kind of goes between whole grains and protein. So it's very important to get a good amount of protein. There's lots of varieties of ways that you can get protein in your body. They suggest things like fish, poultry. Poultry is like chicken, turkey. Those are the more lean meats, the more healthier for your body, whereas things like beef and pork are a little fattier. They're a little harder on your body to break down. So they recommend things like poultry, beans, nuts, and it does recommend that you limit red meats and cheese. Yes, cheese can be considered a protein. And it asks you to, avoid things like bacon, cold cuts, and other processed meats as often as you can. Again, it's not terrible to eat it occasionally, but they recommend you not eat it every day or all day, every day. So if you're having like Oscar Mayer bologna sandwich every day, it's just that they're recommending that's not maybe the healthiest diet to keep. It's not trying to diet shame you or anything, but it is just trying to show you what would be the best choice. Moving on, whole grains. So it's important to eat a variety of whole grains. So things that are like whole wheat bread, whole grain pasta, brown rice, and then it recommends you limit refined grains, so like white rice, white bread, those things that have lots of sugar and water in them. It just doesn't have as many nutrients in it for your body. Water is so important, and I'm terrible at this. I'm so bad at drinking water. You see me drink coffee all the time. I have tried to work on this forever. Mr. Keller, for my birthday last year, got me a water bottle that blinks red at me when I need to drink more water. And my kindergartners, because I taught kindergarten last year, would always be like, Mrs. Keller, you need to drink some water. It was really kind of funny. But it's so important to drink water. Our body is made up of, percentile-wise, the majority of your body is made up of water. So your body really depends on it, especially your cells that keep your body moving and allows you to, think more clearly and it'll allow your muscles to be less stiff and things like that. So it does recommend, tea or coffee is okay. And tea or coffee is mostly water. Where you get into dangerous territory is if you're doing what Mr. Keller does and you've got this much coffee and then this much creamer and sugar. For example, this thing right here, this is not what it means when it says coffee. Black coffee is 0 calories because it's just coffee beans and water. When you start adding things like milk, creamer, sugars, that's when you get the calories. So this is 190 calories of just fat and sugar. So this is not what they mean when they say coffee would be a good choice. Again, does that mean that you can't have something like this delicious Frappuccino? Absolutely not. It's just saying to limit how much you have. And then tea. I let you guys try some Earl Grey tea earlier this year when we were trying different cultural foods. Tea is just different kinds of herbs and leaves and water. Again, when you start adding things like sugar, a lot of people do add like milk and things to their tea. That's when it can get, again, like coffee, where you just have too many things that aren't good for you. You add like some lemon or something, that's a lot better. Alrighty, so again, it suggests that you limit your milk and dairy intake, and then also juice. Juice can be a great way to get some nutrients in your body, especially like cranberry juice and things like that. You've got lots of antioxidants in there. Unfortunately though, a lot of juices do have tons of sugar in them. Because cranberry is such a sour, bitter fruit, in order to make it a more pleasant drinking experience, things like Ocean Spray do pack a lot of sugar in there. So just be careful. Make sure you read your ingredients and see, what's in there. I know there's brands like Adam and Eve, I believe, and then Honest Kids. They have juices like fruit punch and apple juice, where it really is just like pure juice concentrate, fruit concentrate, and things like that in water. So those are a lot better choices than things like, Capri Sun juicy juice, things like that. Moving on. And again, it does remind you, to try to limit your milk and dairy. When I was a kid, I drank milk for every meal. Milk is great to give you strong bones and teeth. Just try to be careful not to overdo it with the dairy. Let's see here. The smallest portion on the plate is fruits. And similarly to the vegetables, it just reminds you to eat plenty of fruits of all different colors. So you're not just eating, grapes all day, every day. Grapes actually do have quite a bit of sugar in them. Still good for you. But things like strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, things like that have tons of antioxidants, which help keep your body, healthy and able to fight off sicknesses, which is so important these days. So just try to remember to get those deep colored fruits, those rich variety of colors of fruits. And notice again that it is the smallest portion on the plate because fruits have a lot of natural sugar in them. So sugar is definitely not the nutrient your body needs the most of. Just try to limit how much fruit you have, which is so hard for me. I love fruit so much. I think I'm addicted to sugar, but just try to remember, not to eat too much sugary fruit. And also be careful of things like fruit cups and canned fruit. A lot of times they will have things that, how do I explain this? It's things that make it able to stay good in a can for months. Those kinds of things aren't really supposed to go in your body, and it's kind of hard for your body to process those things. Additionally, with fruit cups, a lot of times, again, just like the cranberry juice, to make it a more pleasant eating experience, they will add quite a bit of sugar. So try to look for 100% juice or no sugar added when looking at fruit cups, if you can. Mr. Keller loves fruit cups. I always try to look for those, especially when they're on sale. Lastly, we have healthy oils. So these are like your sugars, your fats, your oils. Olive oil, canola oil, peanut oil, they use for cooking, and then also those are in dressings that you put on salad. Just try to limit that, as well as butter, margarine. Trans fat and saturated fats are those things that can kind of clog your arteries and things. Arteries carry blood from your heart to around your whole body and those veins, and then up to your brain and back. So it's just important to try to keep those as clear as you can. So super interested because I have some examples of foods I have in my home to show you here in a little bit. So what I have for you is a sort here. After you look at the MyPlate example, what you're going to do is you're going to categorize these pictures under which food group they belong. So I have my notebook here to show you that what you could do is you could write grains, vegetables, fruits, dairy, and protein. Notice that those are 5 different food groups. Those are the 5 main food groups that we're going to focus on, the 5 most important to your body. Excuse me. So you can do that and write it on scrapbook paper, and then you don't have to print it out and use ink and cut it out and that whole process. It's fine. It's perfectly fine to do it this way. And then just either draw a picture or write what food it is. So under grains, I might write bread, or I might draw a picture of bread. Under vegetables, I might draw a picture of the broccoli or write black broccoli. For fruits, you know, I draw strawberry or write strawberry. Dairy, cheese, or draw cheese. And then proteins, you know, beans, or draw a picture of that. That's perfectly fine. So instead of going through all the answers with you, because I do want to see if you can do this part on your own, we did go over all of those examples on the last page. So for this page, instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you examples of different food types that I have in my home that might differ from what you would normally think of for each food group. So let's start with grains. Grains, bread obviously is a super important part of your daily grain intake. And then it's so important to find things like whole grains. So this has 12 grain. It has lots of fiber, which helps your digestive system, along with other things. So whole grains are really important to put in your body. This is like $1.99 at Kroger. It's so good. I love it. Another example of grains could be rice. Now, this is more of a white rice than a brown rice. I have brown rice up there, but this is my favorite, so I wanted to show it to you. It's called basmati rice. I would make basmati rice if I'm doing like some kind of a curry or some kind of Indian food. So basmati rice is still a good source of grains, just maybe not the best choice. Additionally, that's where I'll stop for grains. Let's look at vegetables. Again, they talked about in the MyPlate, it's important to have a variety of colors. I made my last bunch of broccoli yesterday for our dinner. So things that I have are like corn. Frozen is better than canned if you can, again, because of those preservatives. Fresh is always best, but fresh can be kind of a hassle sometimes. Corn, along with carrots, are vegetables kind of like grapes where they have more sugar in them than nutrients, but that doesn't mean that they're not good for you. Corn especially has tons of fiber to, again, help with your digestion, among other things. This is spinach. I use spinach in a variety of ways. I put it in my breakfast smoothies. I will saute it to put with fish or chickpeas. I will have a salad. So I get one of these about once a week, and they're like 99 cents, $1.25 from Kroger, and it'll last me a whole week. And spinach has so many important nutrients for you, like calcium, like iron, that are just so important to your blood and to get nutrients to your body. So spinach is a good one. Super bright and colorful as well. Let's move on to fruits. Okay. Again, I do have fruit cups. I try to get 100% fruit juice. I didn't get pull those out, but that's what I get from Mr. Keller. I usually try to get some kind of antioxidant-rich fruit a week, whatever's on sale. So usually I alternate between strawberries. blueberries, and raspberries. Blackberries are good for you. However, I eat them so fast that they only last me usually a day. So I try to get stuff that's going to last me a while. So strawberries, super colorful, full of antioxidants. For your immune system, mango is another kind of fruit that I'll put in a smoothie. Again, frozen is always better than like canned, but frozen tends to be the most expensive, which is annoying. I used to try to get fresh and then, you know, cut it up, clean it, and then freeze it, but it always seemed to go bad. So I try to get little bags of frozen if the fruit is not on sale that week, or if I just can't find it, especially these days. It's hard to find things. So mango is just really good for things like inflammation. So inflammation is when how do I explain this? If you are feeling pressure in like your joints or your bones and things, for example, my dog has back problems, and so I have to give her a pill that's an anti-inflammatory pill to help her joints and bones and things in her back relax. That's kind of what it does. So if you guys remember, Mrs. Keller was in a car accident last year, and I still have really bad days sometimes. And my neck and my spine become really inflamed, and it's really hard to, you know, like turn my head or stand up or sit up. So things like mango, which are naturally anti-inflammatories, really help with that. So, and mangoes are so sweet. They're so good in a smoothie. Let's see here, dairy. So I am not lactose intolerant officially, but I don't feel very good when I eat dairy products, and I'm not suggesting you don't eat dairy products. Dairy products are super important when you're young to eat if you can, if you're not lactose intolerant, because again, they help build strong bones and strong teeth. I had so much dairy as a kid. I'm wondering if maybe I'm burnt out on it as an adult, but I will say I was a rough housing kid. I would climb trees. I would fall out of trees. I played all kinds of sports. I played sports with boys. I wrestled all the time. I was a crazy kid, and I, fingers crossed, knock on wood, have never had a broken bone. I'm not saying it's because I had a ton of dairy. I know that's what they told us in the 90s, but it is super important, especially as you get older and older and older. Strong bones are so important. So things that I do for dairy, and I mean, some of these things I found for super cheap at like Aldi. So instead of yogurt, and I love Greek yogurt, but again, sometimes it just really messes with me. I'll do dairy-free yogurt. It has probiotics in it, so that's really good for, again, your digestive system, especially if you have to take antibiotics and things. Probiotics are really good for you in your digestive system. So it has things like almond milk, coconut cream, and things like that in it. So that's what I'll put in my smoothies. Notice how loose it is. It's almost like a smoothie itself. Also for dairy, this is my favorite. I love oat milk, but it is so expensive, so I can only get it when I have a coupon. But oat milk is my favorite. It has the creaminess of regular milk, but it doesn't upset my belly. This is Mr. Keller's favorite. He loves vanilla almond milk, and he drinks so much of it, so I have to get a huge container of it, and then I use it sometimes in recipes. If you use things like milk in recipes like mac and cheese or something like that, I usually will use coconut milk. It's really creamy, and it works really well for cooking. Sometimes I'll do a dairy-free cheese, but I don't really do cheese very often. And so let's move on to proteins. Proteins, when you're not wanting to do a whole lot of dairy or in meat products, just it's a personal choice for my family. That doesn't mean we don't eat meat. It's just we try to limit it. When we do eat like meat products, we'll try to eat fish or scallops or mussels, seafood, canned tuna. I make a lot of curries, and you can make curries with, where'd they go? Oh, I didn't get them out. Ooh, give me 1 second. Oh, that was loud. Chickpeas, they are my favorite. If you've ever had Om India, which we have lots of fundraisers through our school, chickpeas are an option in place of like their chicken or their pork, and I always get them. It's called chana in at the Indian restaurant. Chickpeas are super good. You can also use chickpeas to make hummus. Hummus is another great source of protein, as well as calcium. And I love having, bell peppers, pretzels. What else do I like in hummus? As usual, I'm blanking. But yeah, hummus is fantastic. Also in proteins, if I'm making some kind of like an Asian dish or Thai or Vietnamese dish, I'll do tofu. You can also make a scrambled egg using tofu. I really like tofu. Mr. Keller does not. We have eggs in the fridge as well that sometimes we'll eat, mostly him though. Also for protein, beans. They mentioned that in the MyPlate. Mr. Keller and I love black beans. We use this in like chili and stuff. Or if we're making like some kind of a plant-based taco. Nuts are another good source of protein. I love almonds. I'll put them in my smoothies or I'll just eat them plain. Really good for you. I don't think I mentioned these earlier. Lentils. Lentils are a great source of calcium, so it can be like a dairy replacement. And then it's also kind of considered a bean. Lentils can be used in like soups. I really like them in soups. There's other ways you can use them, but that's the way that I have found that I like to use them the most. Another kind of protein source can be seeds. I love chia seeds. I'll put them in my smoothies or my desserts, or overnight oats, which I'll talk about in a second. So chia seeds are another great source of calcium, iron, and protein. I'll make overnight oats sometimes for breakfast for a nice treat. Oats are another great source of iron and protein, surprisingly. Really fill you up. Good source of fiber as well. Now let's talk about, now that I've got all my food all over my table and chair here. Now, oh, bird. Pretty. Now let's talk about the oils, maybe not so healthy. Let's talk about like the junk food. Junk foods that I just kind of like pulled out. Again, Starbucks Frappuccino, tons of sugars. Okay to have in moderation. This is more of a healthy oil, but it is still an oil nonetheless. Oils you should like kind of try to limit if you can. And then of course sugars, and I have sugar in my coffee every morning, and maybe afternoon, and maybe evening. So try to limit your sugar. I am not so great at that myself. Something you might not have thought of, ketchup. Ketchup has tons of sugar in it, and oils as well. So try to limit your condiment intake. And then of course we love our ice cream. Ice cream has tons of fat and sugars in them, so just try to be careful with that as well. Oh, sorry, for protein I didn't mention nut butters. So like peanut butters, almond butter, sunflower butter, hazelnut butter, all those kinds of things are a good source of protein. Sorry that I'm kind of going back and forth, but I've got all kinds of stuff spread around my kitchen table here. So those are the different food groups, and I feel like I've taken so much time doing this. So let me just kind of go through the rest of the activities, and then we'll watch a quick brain pop. So here, you're just trying to figure out which of these foods would be junk foods. Again, if you don't want to print it out, just write on your notebook. These are the junk foods: chocolate bar, donut, and just list them, okay? No big deal. Give me 5, just a quick little review. I want to see if you can remember the 5 main food groups and in which order you would want to have a larger portion on your plate. So would the largest portion you want to have on your plate be dairy? It would be vegetables. And then go back to the healthy plate and see what would be the next largest portion. Well, these two are tied, so you can put either of these next. Does that kind of make sense? This is a little article that I wrote myself for you to read. It's just about how our body gets the different nutrients it needs, why those nutrients are important, and then I just have a couple of little questions here for you. This I thought would be really cool as an optional activity. What I want you to do, even though we've started in the afternoon, maybe you can try it tomorrow, or you can just try to recall what you had for breakfast and lunch today. Write down what you're eating throughout the day. What do you have for breakfast? Mrs. Keller had vegan donuts for breakfast. I'm already not doing so good. So I had donuts and coffee. For lunch, what am I gonna have? Well, I already know that I'm picking up a Mother's Day treat for my mom. I'm getting her some chicken salad chick, which is a restaurant that a family member of mine owns. So I'm trying to support a small business as well. So I'm gonna have chicken salad for lunch. Snacks, what will I have for snacks? I love snacks. I love wasabi peas, I love banana chips. As you can see, I love ice cream. So those are some different snacks I might have throughout the day. Then for dinner, what will I have? Probably be some kind of fish dish. So just keep track of what you're eating throughout the day. And then take a look at this. Record where each food item you had today would fall under. So the vegan donut really wouldn't fit under any of these. It's like a bad food, right? So I wouldn't even really be able to put it on here as a food group. Pretty much just sugar. I wouldn't even consider it a grain or a cereal at all. Coffee, you know, I don't really do creamer, so I wouldn't put it there. For lunch, chicken salad would go under meat. I always make some kind of a vegetable to go with our dinner, so maybe it'll be mashed sweet potato, or maybe we'll have some corn with our fish tonight, so that would go under vegetables. Fish would go under meat. If I had a snack like wasabi peas, that could go under vegetables. If I had a snack like banana chips, it could go here. Mr. Keller sometimes will have some kind of jerky for a snack, so that could go under meat. And you could put ice cream under dairy, as long as it's not too super sugary. And take a look and answer these questions. Does your lunchbox contain enough servings of each food group? So for example, so far, I don't have anything that can go anywhere. I'm noticing a problem. I decided to treat myself a little bit today. Usually I'll have like a smoothie or something for breakfast. No. Suggest a change or addition that you could make to your lunchbox. So if I notice, hey, I don't have any vegetables or I don't have any dairy, it's a big problem. Especially as a kid, you really need iron. You really need calcium of some kind. So maybe suggest, hey, I could have a cup of almond milk or a cup of milk with my dinner. Or I could have, they make like a chip substitute that has vegetables in it called cauliflower puffs. Or instead of rice, you could do cauliflowered rice. I love that. Or you can just have carrot sticks and ranch with your lunch. So just try to think of a way that you could improve it. And then after you do today's activities, you will have learned a lot about nutrition. So my question for you is, how will you make healthy choices in the future for yourself? Because at the end of the day, it will be up to you what choices you make. Okay. I grew up in a house where my parents really didn't make healthy choices, if I'm being honest with you. They didn't exercise. They didn't make eating vegetables a huge priority. I drank lots of pop, ate lots of SpaghettiOs and Pringles as a kid. And like I said earlier, I drank lots of milk. So just as I grew into a teenager and started, acquiring my own job and things, making my own money, I realized, hey, health is really important to me. How can I prioritize it? Because ultimately it's my responsibility. So think about those things as you get older. Tomorrow we're going to do a special activity where we're going to conduct some research about nutrition facts in the foods you eat. So we've talked about what kind of nutritious elements are in these foods, but we're going to learn how to read the nutrition labels on food tomorrow. So I hope that you'll join me for that. It should be pretty fun. Alrighty, the last thing that we're gonna do, I think I've still got to share screen up, is we're going to watch a video. I'm sure it'll have me log in again, even though I had this set up before I started our Zoom, to explain the different food groups. And look, does that look familiar, my plate? Yep, here we go. Every time, sorry guys. They don't recognize me. All right. Hang tight and watch this with me.
What do you want for lunch? Moby, that's all junk food.
Uh-oh, Moby.
That's not good for you. This plate reminds us how to use the food groups to eat balanced, healthy meals. What are the food groups? Vegetables have important nutrients we need to grow and stay healthy. Dark green vegetables like broccoli, spinach, kale, and collard greens have calcium, which our bodies use to grow strong bones. Carrots, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, squash, and beets have vitamin A, which helps protect and heal our bodies. Beans are also part of the vegetable group. They're a good source of protein, which you need to build strong muscles, including your heart. You should eat different vegetables so you can get different nutrients. Kids our age should get about 1.5 cups of vegetables a day. You can add a small salad at lunch and a helping of vegetables at dinner. Fruit is also an important part of a balanced meal. Fresh apples, oranges, bananas, and other fruits are loaded with vitamins that our bodies need for healthy eyes and skin. They also have nutrients that help us fight diseases. Fresh fruit and vegetables have fiber, which our digestive system uses to stay healthy. We should have about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of fruit a day. You could have fruit with your oatmeal in the morning and some grapes for a snack in the afternoon. Different colors of fruits and vegetables have different nutrients, so it's good to eat a variety of colors. Half your plate for each meal should be made up of fruits and vegetables. Grains are also an important food group. Bread, rice, pasta, oats, cereal, and tortillas are all part of the grains group. Most grains you eat should be whole grains, which are more nutritious. White bread, white rice, and sugary cereals are made with processed grains, which have lost a lot of their nutrients. Grains contain carbohydrates, which our bodies use for energy. They also contain a lot of fiber, which is good for our digestive system. We need about 5 ounces of grains a day. You could have half a bagel for breakfast, a sandwich with multigrain bread for lunch, and a helping of whole wheat pasta at dinner. Balanced healthy meal also has protein. Protein's food group includes meats like chicken, beef, and fish. It also includes eggs, nuts, beans, and tofu. Beans are part of both the protein and the vegetables group. Remember, our bodies use proteins to build muscles. We need about 4 ounces of protein a day. You could have a piece of wheat toast with peanut butter in the morning, a salad with chicken at lunch, and a small piece of fish at dinner. Try to get your protein from different foods. Dairy is another part of a balanced meal. Milk, soy milk, cheese, and yogurt are all part of the dairy group. Dairy foods have calcium, which our bodies use to grow healthy bones, teeth, and hair. is a great source of vitamin D too, which our bodies need in order to get calcium. You should pick plain milk that's lower in fat, such as skim or 1%. Chocolate and strawberry milk aren't good choices because they have tons of sugar. Kids need about 2.5 cups of dairy a day. We can have yogurt with fruit in the morning, a small carton of milk with lunch, and a little cheese at dinner. When you eat, take a look at your plate. Half your plate should have fruits and vegetables, with a bit more vegetables. The other half should have grains and protein, with more grains. There should be some dairy too. Explore foods from all the food groups so that you eat balanced meals and stay healthy. So, what are you going to have for lunch, Moby? A fish, oatmeal, cheese, carrot, strawberry smoothie? Gross.
Moby is so silly. Trying to drink some more water here, guys. All right, let's take the quick quiz on food groups. Alrighty.
Start.
Which sentence is true about a balanced meal? Most of each meal should be from the dairy group. Most of each meal should be from the protein group. Each meal should have more dairy than vegetables, or each meal should have more vegetables than protein. Remember, the largest portion of your meal should have
Each meal should have more vegetables than protein.
What can you add to this meal to make it more balanced and healthy? Let's see what we have. We have a dairy product, milk. We have a fruit product, grapes. We do have protein. We have meatballs. We have kind of like a vegetable with some sugar in it. We have, pasta sauce. And then we have some kind of a pasta. So what can we do, especially since we need to have the majority of this item in your meal? More vegetables, protein, grains, or dairy. Again, I would say
vegetables.
More vegetables. Need some kind of a vegetable side there. Which of these belongs in the green group? Looks like that's either ice cream or yogurt, carrots, bread, or drumstick and chicken wings. What goes to the grains group? Bread. Just 2 more questions, bear with me. Which do our bodies use to get energy? Is it fiber, calcium, carbohydrates, or carbon dioxide? Ooh, I know my plants love getting carbon dioxide. They use that to breathe. Carbohydrates, I know that those especially help athletes to have more energy. Okay, let's just make sure. Calcium definitely gives me strong bones and teeth. Fiber helps with good digestion. I think my best guess here is carbohydrates. Let's see. Carbohydrates, again, remember,
A
are
serving.
like pastas, whole grains, things like that. What should you avoid or eat smaller portions of junk? Oh, you should avoid or eat smaller portions, gracious, of junk food since they're not nutritious. What does a portion mean? What's a portion? Does a portion mean a serving, a vitamin, a protein, or a diet? You should eat smaller servings, smaller vitamins, smaller proteins, or smaller diets of junk food. Serving.
A serving.
Maybe he's doing his little dance for you. Great job. All right, this was a longer lesson today, and I apologize about that. I just get very excited about things like nutrition and health. It's a passion of mine. So thank you for listening to the lesson today if you do get through this. And I hope that it's helpful to you. And yeah, so tomorrow join me for our little research project experiment on nutrition facts of the items we have at home. All right, have a great day. I'll see you at 5 o'clock for our read aloud. Today it's a super cute book, so I think you'll like it. And I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye.